And, you know, everyone else was just like, whoa. And, like, they, like, started going through their processes on the phone. And the whole time I'm just like, yeah, so when I know more, I'll let you know. And then I would hang up the phone. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, you know, it's stupid. It's so, like, it's just weird how it all happens. But, yeah, it definitely, like, with each death, I feel desensitized. Like, I just don't feel anything. Like, I bet I would now because I've had a year of silence.
So do you feel like with each loss, it takes a year to really start not recovering from it, but really accepting it and starting to continue on with your life or viewing life with a different lens?
No, I don't think that it's always taken a year. It definitely at least takes me through to the funeral and then maybe a couple weeks after the funeral for it to, like, fully get in there.
Okay.
And I don't know what it is. It's always a random thing. Like, I'll pick up a shirt and it's like that shirt. I remember what I was wearing when, like, or I remember what was going on when I wore that shirt, and then I just, like, feel it all. Yeah, that's kind of how it was for Bubba. And I remember I sat on my floor and I, like, was tossing shit all around my room, just screaming. And then, like, after that, I was like, holy fuck. Like, because I thought that I had cried and I had talked to people and I was upset and I knew that, but that, like, you don't, it takes that, like, first fit to really feel like, oh my God. Yeah, it was something else.
So yeah, you felt like you thought you were going through what I feel like society portrays, where you're supposed to go through the funeral, you're supposed to have those support, and you talk to people, and you have those moments of crying and grieving, and then it's that's like it, and it's continued. Yeah, but then later it's just like those moments of it really hits, and the feelings, and you're like, what went on, and like your true self is feeling stuff. That's so crazy because I definitely feel like a few years. So with my mom, she passed away 2013, and it literally was not until this past year span where I finally had my moment of really crying, ugly crying. It was honestly in March. I really had a raw moment where I wasn't afraid. I went through those moments. This last March.
Oh, okay.
When I was in Arizona for my Women's Summit, which was a beautiful thing to feel. I'm actually really grateful, and that's really what finally sparked what I want to do in life, which is this, connections and just being real with everyone. But yeah, like, just like you, I had the support, I had people, you're there, I had the music, I had the comfort, the funerals. And it's so funny when you mentioned that you would watch your friend's video, like that obituary video, I still realize I have yet to even watch my mom's. I have the CD. I have it in a special box that is dedicated to my mom, and I couldn't have gotten myself to watch it. But I really think now, within time and healing and stuff, and just really finally admitting just like what is going on in life, like I could watch it again. But it was those moments where carrying out all my years, let's see, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, like 5 years or so. Sorry, my math is really bad. So 2013 to now 2019, it took me all of these years to where it finally hit me on understanding that I am still grieving. Because I didn't know it was a thing, and this might sound so silly. I did not know that. I thought that it was a year thing. I thought it was just like you said, you go to the funeral, you do this. Like you go through, what you're supposed to do with the friends, the family, and the support system, and the funeral. And every year for my mom's birthday, even to this day, I would get like a cupcake or something, light a candle, sing her happy birthday. Just going through the motions. And of course I would have my moments of crying. Whenever November and December come, those 2 months get really more like vulnerable to me because November is her birthday and December is when she passed. So for sure those moments, will get to me and I'll start crying. But it really wasn't until in March where I had a moment with just myself and being 100% and like talking to my mom, talking to just like no one. I was in the hotel room. I've never cried so hard in my life. Never, but it wasn't just like an ugly cry. I was finally actually feeling things. I was finally feeling and when I'm saying feeling things, I'm not talking about just sad. I'm talking about I had the right to feel frustrated at it. I felt confused. I was angry. I like had all of those intense feelings, like fire in me. Not just like, oh, you know, it was raw. It was real. And I felt like it took me that to really start to finally heal from it. On the beginning of the process of healing.
So exactly that.
There's so many things that I know we could talk about, but I think one of my biggest messages I really just wanted to get out there to you guys, whoever has gone through a loss, or experiencing that, or haven't yet, or you have people around you who have, is that it is okay to grieve for however long you want to, or however long it needs. It'll take time. It's not just like a 1-year thing. It could be, you know, if that really is you, awesome, but that's what I thought. And then like 5 years later, it just came out of nowhere. You have the right to feel. You have the right to feel frustrated or angry or confused, sad or happy or at peace about all of this. But don't think that it has to be.
Don't put a timestamp on it. And also, it's super important to know that you don't have to feel anything. I always felt like, so when I went to the funeral, I didn't cry for Bubba. I didn't cry at his funeral until after. Like, after the ceremony was over, then I cried. And it's only because my friend hugged me, and then that's when I cried. But I didn't cry at all. I didn't cry at his viewing. I got to stay for their, like, family prayer, you know? And his grandma was like, of course I want you here. Because I was, like, leaving, because that's, like, for the family. And she was like, where are you going? And I was like, away so you guys can pray. And she was like, no, get in here. So I sat there, and, like, everyone was in tears. Even the guy that was praying was crying. And I just sat there twiddling my thumbs and just looking around the room, because I don't close my eyes during prayer. And
see, my family's still doing that too.
I like can't close. I think it's weird. It's weird to me. So I was just like looking around the room, and I was like, holy shit, like literally everyone is crying. And that's what I felt I should be doing. So I would try to, like, this is bad, I used to think of things that would make me sad so that I would cry. And then they would think that I was crying for that. But really, because I was like, I look like a freaking stone. I look like that friend that's, like, not really a friend. Because it's like, why aren't you crying? But it's like, I can't cry right now because I'm not feeling that part of the grievance. So, like, if you can't get yourself to cry, like, don't feel like you have to.
Because that's really what, So I think crazy that might be because, again, following what you think society thinks how you should take a grief, how you should take a loss, thinking that you have to cry. And so the fact that you had to think that you had to make...
I know, it's so bad when I talk about it. I've never told anyone that.
It's so true, when in reality, it's like, if you really have no emotions and you can't, don't think that you have to make yourself cry in order to blend in.
Because it would be like, I would go hang out with people that we were all friends with, you know, and they would talk about him, and they would just cry. And, like, I would talk about him, and I would laugh. But I'm also an inappropriate person. I laugh at everything that I shouldn't. But, like, you know, like, but it's also we would tell stories of, like, do you remember that one time when we played this game, and Bubba did this, and then they'd start crying. And I'm like, oh, my God, yeah, that was so funny. Like, it just happened. And I'm like, oh, wait, yeah, we're crying right now. Shit. And I'm like, think of something sad. I'm just kidding.
I want to know what's on your sad list that you want.
Dude, I literally just think about anything. Like, sometimes I cry when I see puppies. And so sometimes, like, I would think about puppies.
Think about midnight when we'd have to wake up and go into work. That's what would make me cry. The thought of having to wake up for a grave shift.
They're like, oh, are you crying about Bubba? And I'm like, no, I have to go to work.
Exactly. Well, it's true, though.
So bad. I can't believe I just, like, admitted all of that.
I love that. That's what we're here for.
So bad.
Going back to when you experience losses after, you know, going through a year, and then it's like it started hitting you.
I don't know. I feel like my story is just, like, different than a lot of... So because I, like, started with death so young in life, the next time that I had a death, I was 14. So I was, like, an angsty adolescent. You know, I was, like, into Simple Plan a lot. Green Day, you know, like anything that like makes you feel angsty. I was into a lot of that stuff, and so when I lost my friend, I like was feeling all of that on top of this. So that kind of just like I felt more things then. And then I think Bubba was the first big, like, okay. But I mean, like, so we all knew his was coming. I mean, he died of lymphoma. So
and just to clarify, this is a friend?
Oh yeah, I didn't even say, like, no, I'm just like fine. Talking about him. Yeah, no. So I knew Bubba from when I was like 13. Yeah, around 13, 14. I was really good friends with this guy, Jake, and he was friends with Bubba, and Bubba was staying with his family, and that's where I met him. And we just like hit it off, like best friends from the start. And it was not just like regular friendship, you know, like it was like I always knew like how he felt, he always knew how I felt. And it got to a point where he would creepily call me because he felt like I needed a phone call, or he felt like something was happening and he just wanted to call and make sure I was okay. And quite literally right when he would call was when something had happened. It was weird. And so like that's like the kind of friendship that we had. And so to lose that was like, it just was like, how? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you will never find someone that does that again. Yeah. But something that was cool is that after he passed, I think it was the next year, or maybe it was, I can't remember. I think it was in 2017. My friend Heather, who is Jake's sister, who was really good friends with Bubba, she started calling me because she got feelings that she needed to call me. And I would be like having a meltdown on my stairs. And she'd call. And I'm like, yeah, girl, I'm good. And she's like, are you though? And I'd be like, Heather. And she's like, I'm coming over. It was a lot of that. And so then I was like, holy shit, like, it just, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's like Bubba was telling Heather to call me, or like that's the feeling that she would get. I would be like, why are you calling me? And she's like, I don't know. I just felt I needed to call you. Like, sometimes she had no idea. It was so weird. But, like, she saved me a lot of times, like, because I would be, like, on the verge of a huge breakdown, and she'd call. And then we'd go get, like, ice cream or something.
And all those moments you felt like you were alone. But in reality, you didn't go through it alone.
I know, and there's, like, so many people. But you don't see that in your own little depth of despair.
And I know sometimes at the beginning, sometimes we don't. I was that person where I struggled hearing when people would say, I'm sorry for your loss, let me know if there's anything we can do for you. Like saying like the traditional things to say. Yeah. Like, is there anything we can do for you? Or this. Like, I know people genuinely have meant it, because it is a shock and sometimes they just don't know what to say. And so they want to say something, but all in reality, I'm just like, I don't want to hear it right now. I just want to do me.
What made this was mostly Carrie's peeve, and then it became mine later, was that people would use past tense to describe who passed away. So it'd be like, they were cool, or that person was so funny. Okay, so they would say things like, Megan was so cute. She's like, and she would bluntly tell them as they were saying she'd be like, she still is cute. And she'd like walk away. And it would like ruin her whole day. And we like, I couldn't say the word grave because it would just like mess with my head, but she didn't like that word either, so we would call it thing. Like, we're gonna go to Megan's thing, because it's like, it's not a grave. Okay. But like sometimes I'll even say like, I'm gonna go see Bubba, and I still don't say grave. Like, I don't say I'm gonna go to Bubba's grave. I just say I'm gonna go see Bub.
Yeah, you do. I don't know. Or you say you visited Jen. Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
I still have only been back once to see her.
See, I have
just that right after the funeral, I went back.
You know, and that's something funny that not funny, but like interesting that I've noticed is I haven't even gone to visit Jen, but I rarely even go to see my mom's. And every year. My family, they're like, have you visited your mom yet? Are you gonna visit your mom? Like, we're gonna go take flowers to your mom. And I like, that's what I know, that's what they do and that's what they like, and I appreciate it so much. But really the moments that I found myself going